Hughesy plays. Yes, I am a stan. Let's get that out of the way. I am part of Eminem's stan base, and I would rather be a stan than a believer any day. Or a budding Joe Budden fan. Right. So I'm a complete stan. I'm an Eminem fan, and I'm going to be reviewing 11 Eminem albums, every single studio album, and ranking them in order. Eminem is so good that he made MGK, aka Machine Gun Kelly, turn into Avril Lavigne overnight. And now that guy's like stop rap and totally sucks. Like, good at acting actually, pretty good. However, I would rather Eminem do a duet with him than Ed Sheeran, because I think those songs absolutely suck and don't do Eminem any favours. Let's get to the top 11 Eminem albums. Well, all of them. Let's rank them in order. At number 11, worst to the best, Revival. It absolutely sucks. It blows. Maybe it's just a good album for anyone else, but it's not Eminem. I don't like the Ed Sheeran collaborations. It's absolutely dull. It's more rocky and slower. And it's a shame because after Recovery and Marshall Mathers LP, he went, woo, got back and then fell. So that sucked. So yeah, that's at 11. At number 10, we've got Infinite. Great album to debut studio album, not on a major label, but it showcased Eminem in his more Jay-Z style, more of his different sort of flows. And you can tell he was influenced by what was around at the time. But it's underproduced and it's a great album, but it's not Eminem's best body of work in terms of scope, lyrics, depth and production. So that's at number 10. At number 9, Encore. For the life of me, I don't know why this album gets even remotely reviewed in any iodine. The production got over the top. It took the Eminem show, but just went worse for me. You could hear it getting a bit more cornier in the songs, a bit more cartoonish. Lyrics, it just sounded like a guy who'd made his money at the time and totally, yeah, like, obviously he was on drugs. And Revival was I think with Revival I'd rather him be on drugs or flushing them out. But on Encore, if he's going to be on drugs, be on some good ones, like, or whatever, because that album sucks, Encore. I really don't like it. Mosh is alright with the video, but it was just a guy sort of doing a Marilyn Manson, becoming a bit of a parody of himself, becoming a bit silly, becoming idiosyncratic, and the songs were just corny, and I didn't like Just Lose It at all. I hated it. It was like Without Me, but worse. And Real Slim Shady. It just went one step too far, and that's when I sort of got out for a while. So that's at number 9, Encore. Shoot, I don't even like Toy Soldiers anymore. It just sounds too corny and self-deprecating, and I don't like it. Few good songs at the beginning, but there's not a lot of great songs on this album. I don't like it. It's not cohesive. It's just poor. It seems lack of effort, for no better word. At number 8, the latest album, Music to Be Murdered By. It has its moments. Darkness is a great song, but we have to be proactive. You know, at first when you listen to it, you listen to the lyrics, and it's punch heavy, and it's bar heavy, and it's very... The lyrics are great acrobats, great bends, but it's a good Eminem album. Back to form, it's a pretty decent album. Like, in terms of Revival, it's a lot better than Revival was. It's a lot better than even Encore for me. There's some Darkness is a great twist, a great song. I actually like Stepdad. I think it's funny. It sounds like a car wash, sort of trailer trash vibe going on. But it just doesn't... It's not as good as a lot of albums in front of it. And it's in the lower half for a reason. I just think it has great moments, but it's also got moments that are not as coherent and just lack lack that consistency throughout the album. There's some great moments, but then there's some moments where it's like goes off a bit, which takes me to number 7, which is Kamikaze. What a comeback from Revival, which sucked. Kamikaze was Eminem out of nowhere, just coming out like Avenged Sevenfold did. No real press release, no nothing, no marketing, no promotion. Boom, here you go. And I think that's what made it probably better than at the time than people thought. Eminem's released an album and it was good. The best songs on it, obviously Joyner Lucas. I love that song with Joyner Lucas. I love Fall. It's great. Great song. But for every great moment in this album, there are moments where it just seems like he's flexing his vocal ability too much and it's not really getting to the core of some songs. I actually like Venom more now. That's a great song. That's a good song. Fall's great. Greatest is great. It's just an absolute onslaught to everyone. Eminem was back on this. He was back flexing his talents of Eminem. Which takes us to number 6, Relapse. A vastly underrated Eminem album. My favourite songs, Underground, We Made It, Medicine Ball, Baghdad. There's some really good songs on this album, and it's horrorcore, but it was Eminem having a lot of fun with it, and you can hear it. There's a lot of great samples, great sounds, absolutely turbulent, turbocharged lyrics and flips, and it's the character of Eminem. Relapse is a really good album. Kamikaze's good. Kamikaze has some great moments, but Relapse to me is a little better. Beautiful's actually a good song. There's songs all around this album, great, really good samples, really good sounds that give it that cinematic feel and give it that twist. It's got a lot of character, and this was Eminem coming back as far as I was concerned. At number 5, this is a tie, but I'm going to go with Recovery. It's a tie between this and Marshall Mathers LP 2. Recovery was Eminem basically recovered. It's a great title, apt title. It's got some great club sort of tracks on it. No Love, Seduction's my favourite song on this album. It's like a Michael Mann bass song. You can hear it in Heat, you can hear it in Man on Earth. Yeah, Thief, any of those Michael Mann movies, you can hear this. Collateral, I could hear it. Back of the Taxi. Anyway, I feel like I'm morphing. Great, I love that song. No Love with Lil Wayne is just Eminem's, one of his masterpieces. Great collaboration. Both do that song justice and honour, and both look strong in it. No one gets renegaded. You don't do a Jay-Z on Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne holds his own, and Eminem also absolutely kills it with his lyrics. Recovery is a great album. It's just, I think so. It's just from start to finish. It's so flowing, so consistent, so energetic, so pumping, and it's got a good, I won't say poppy, but it's a good dancey vibe to it as well. Club track vibe, T.I. thing going on a lot with that. Great collaborations with Rihanna, and there's just top class songs all across this album. Bit dwindly at moments with, going through changes, and sometimes on Eminem albums, a lot of his songs tend to, even on the newest, it's too late to go back, I'm done with it. And he sort of hits the same point sometimes, which is, I've grown up, I'm done with that shit. But he still tends to dwell on what critics say and things like that. But you need a subject choice for each album, and Recovery was Eminem getting back and admitting his mistakes, which he obviously says, I'm talking to myself. Encore, I was on drugs. Relapse, I was flushing them out. I'd have had my arse handed to me if I'd have gone at Kanye and Lil Wayne. So he was honest with it. But this is an album, vibrant. It's Eminem back. There's some absolute killer flows in this, fire. This is to new celebrities, always updating with the change, and there's just good songs all the way through this album. which takes us to number 4, which is the Marshall Mathers LP 2. This was, I suppose he couldn't get better than this, and this was probably, if we're looking at it now, Eminem's last real strong piece of material in terms of really, like, wow, like, now you can say Eminem's the GOAT in terms of, like, because if you listen to Bad Guy, and we all try that bit, and better the walls and the return, I'm talking a lot of shit and I'm backing it up, burning my head, and everyone tries it, and you do it for a bit, and then you're like, Eminem proved not only did he have the speed and the skill in this album, he had the storytelling and the lyrical excellence, and it was far more of a statement than any of the albums he'd released since, I'd say, Recovery. Relapse and them were good, but this was Eminem at his absolute most powerful and poignant. Headlights is a great song. Bad Guy, great song. Rap God, I never liked at first. I didn't even like the song. But when you listen to the actual lyrics and the skill and the breath control, you realise, yeah, now he's saying, right, you can't even argue with it now. I'm the Rap God. Put me in the booth and I'm the best on the mic. And that's Eminem, and that's what he did. And the Marshall Mathers LP 2 is an absolute body of work. Even the more chilled songs, what's your name, who's your daddy, do. It's just got some great rootsy stuff in there, some absolutely fantastic samples. I love Headlights. I love it. I don't know, it's just a great way to nearly close the album. Got an absolute fantastic Kendrick Lamar style song with Bad Guy, with the turnover off a sort of a Mad Kid City thing where he does one of his tracks where he's switching, going from dark to absolutely bursting out, just flipping to sides. And the album as a whole has just got just good songs all over. Survival. I don't like Berserk much, but there are others. It's a killer album from start to finish, and it's one of those, when you listen to it more, the more you get in it, it's like watching a movie. It's a brilliant album. Which takes us to number 3. And this was a tie, and I thought, but I'm going to go with the Slim Shady LP. Reason this is not at number 2 or 1, because this was Eminem making a statement, coming out on a proper debut on a major label with some really strong tracks. Drug Ballad, awesome. Role Model, there's some really good songs and the production's great. It's got Dre on it. It's cartoon all over. It's very, very dark, and that's what I love. Like, it's really dark, this album. Really dark. See, I don't think you can get darker than really dark. It's so dark, this album. It's Eminem. Drug Ballad is class. It's really rootsy, and it's not too over the top. But there was still a lot better to come. But this album was just Eminem making a statement, and it was fresh at the time, and it was new, and the metaphors were different, the rhymes, the flow, everything was just like, whoa. My Name Is, obviously, which isn't even one of my favourite songs. It's just like a good introduction, and what better way to introduce yourself than saying, hi, my name is. Slim Shady LP is up there because there's a lot of heart in this album. There's a lot of, you can hear the raw power in it, and the lyrics are very of the time, talking about school and the canteen, and it's social commentary. And it's more of his childhood, and I love that. And we're going to go to number 2, which is the Eminem Show. For me, this was Eminem coming from the Marshall Mathers LP and really making a statement in terms of production, weight, depth, songs, flow, beats. The beats on this album are absolutely fantastic. They really are. It's so powerful. It has the corny moments like from Slim Shady LP, but it just has enough credibility with power. White America. This was Eminem basically saying, here we go. Now we're leapfrogging, and we're gonna show you, like, and that now I'm the character, now I'm the man, and I'm gonna piss even more people off. This was Eminem making a massive statement of what he could do. not to overthrow the government, but just to get people on the hype train. And he had the songs to back it up. Till I Collapse, what a tune. White America and Soldier are my three standout tracks on this album for weight. Convincing. Without Me is a great song. And even with the corny stuff, it doesn't matter because it was always good tracks to dance to, and the lyrics were good with it. So the lyrics weren't that corny. The lyrics were, he was a great trash talker and he could say what he thought. And what an album. Eminem Show is just Eminem showing everyone how good he was and really loving it. And all the way through this album, there's just class. It's Dr. Dre and them at their, I think, like what, almost peak. Which takes us to number one, which was, it's a no-brainer. And I've got all these anyway. Proper stan, live Eminem. I should have done the covers, but I was too busy talking. Number one, it goes without saying. Check out my podcast, it's on my classic albums. Number one, just for the storytelling. I don't think you'll get a better hip-hop album with such Jerry Springer-like white trash rooted storytelling with absolute phenomenal vocal dexterity and quick fire delivery. It's a verbal assassination on the world, and this was class. This album was Eminem's, in terms of the songs, in terms of the structure, in terms of his reaction to the first album and all the people liking him. He's commentating every day on things that are happening. When he's becoming famous, he responds to it. And I like the way Eminem catches people's attitudes more than anything. That's one thing he was always great at. I've got a Spotify podcast on this, Hughesy Music Mania. I will link it under there so you can check it. I talk enough about this album, how relevant it was to multisyllabics, to battle rap, to dissing, to just songs and how you could craft songs. And Kendrick Lamar owes a lot to that, definitely. Without Stan, a lot of people wouldn't have had that conscious vibe of rapping in terms of using characters and flipping back to forth. That's a huge Eminem influence. He was great at it. Marshall Mathers' song, the drug ballad, Amityville. It's got some great... This sounds well recorded, like it's recorded live in a studio. You can hear... that's the core of it. Sounds like you can hear him in the studio playing. And there's a real good groove to it. Real professional sounding, slick groove, slick band sound on this album all the way through. Some great bass, great production, but absolutely flawless performance by Eminem. It's his best album as far as I'm concerned. And we've done it. 20 minutes. I didn't babble on too much. The top 10. So it's top 11, Revival, Infinite, Encore, Music to be Murdered by, Kamikaze, Relapse, Marshall Mathers LP 2, Recovery, Slim Shady LP, The Eminem Show, and the Marshall Mathers LP. I hope you enjoyed, guys. Subscribe to Hughesy Plays. Check out my Hughesy Plays podcast, Hughesy Music Mania. I'll put it under there for you to link. I talk about battle rap, I talk about metal, I talk about rock. And I love doing this, so yeah. Subscribe, click the button there. All the girlies know on Spotify for a white guy. Anyway, peace. Ta.